Yesterday you talked about Mark Stone, how he's worked so hard in the offseason leading up to the season. What does it mean to you to see him be rewarded with such a strong series here in Sweden and just a really strong season all year long so far?
Well, I think the toughest thing for any athlete and for any team to acquire is consistency. And when you've got guys that display consistency, it's inspiring for everybody. It's something you can build around, and it's a model for everybody to be able to follow. I think last year, a big part of why we've had success is nobody was really looking at us, but we were consistent all year long. We didn't really have long dips, and that's where we're trying to get this year again. And he's representing that since day one. And it's all about his attitude, his work ethic, and his discipline has been outstanding. So the results are outstanding, and he's benefiting from it, but the whole team's benefiting from it.
Guy,
on the right side.
It's Bruce here. Can I get your thoughts on the game, and then secondly, I wanted to ask you about pulling Condon.
Yeah, you know what? We were playing a real solid game. Like if you look at first period, I think the shots are 16-7 or something like that. You look at the overall game, 40 shots to 18 for us. But what was happening is there was a lot of weirdness in that game, and where deflections against Condon, that third one, that's not his fault, it's just a deflection. And we were missing a lot of quality, high-end quality chances. And sometimes those games, they get away because you get frustrated because you feel that you deserve better. And we've been guilty of that at the beginning of the year on some of those games, and we were losing our focus and losing our calm. And whether it's yesterday or today, it's the opposite. We talked about it. We want to be mentally tough and emotionally tough. And that's what the guys were today. And, we were rewarded on a power play. We were missing goals before, and Hoff missed 2 goals like that with a wide-open net, and he stayed focused. I played great defensive hockey, and then it came back to him, and it came back to the team on the power play. And it's the same on a penalty kill. We got scored on before, but then we had a big penalty kill at the end of the game where, we saved the game there. So I think it's the mental reload, the emotional reload, when things are not resulting in what you're deserving, really. Is what we talked about, and the guys were outstanding at it. You talked about Mark too, having a real tough day, and he was outstanding, being focused behind that bench, and that's just another example of the guy's mental and emotional toughness. And for Condon, sometimes a goaltender's having a hard day. And sometimes he's not having a hard day, but you gotta look at the perception, and you gotta look at what you can change for the perception to change. And at that point, I felt that lucky or not, we had an opportunity to send a different type of message. And I think Andy won yesterday, and then sending him back out there for me was sending the winning goaltender against that team. And to be honest with you, I thought I put Condon back in at some point, but then Andy made a big save, and then I thought, what it feels like is let's keep it like that, and it paid off. So some days you look smart, some days you don't. And it's one of those days where I love Sweden right now.
Sergei, front right.
Coach, whether yesterday it was Clausen getting a goal and his overall play, or tonight getting a spark from a goal from Oduya, how important is it to get those kinds of contributions from those guys, and how valuable is it for you to see those guys deliver?
Well, we lost a top 4D, and we wanted to replace him by another top 4D, and we felt that we had lots of information on Oduya, and it's not just the fact he's won 2 Stanley Cups. It's the fact that he had been before in 2 organizations that I really respected, and I know they had very strong culture. Jersey had a very strong culture there, and the same in Chicago, and he's a real pro, this guy. And for the people that don't know him, and this guy is first at work, the last to leave. Very serious about what he does and the small details of being a pro, and we needed that this year to continue growing our culture, to continue moving in the direction that we want to go to. And whether it's him coming in, or the Burrows, or Thompson, those guys are extreme pros that are contagious for the rest of the group, and that help the other leaders like Carlson, obviously, and Phaneuf and Stone to continue growing, and it gives them also more weight and more help so that our leadership grows, because everything rises and falls on leadership. So if you put a lot of time into it and you calculate the intangibles that you need and you add to them, sometimes for people they look at stats all the time and it doesn't make sense to them, and sometimes some guys look more paid than they should be paid. It's because they don't have the information. We get the information from inside, and we know how contagious people are and leaders are, and he's one of those guys. So you look at a really difficult situation to come here, jet lag, new environment and everything. We got injuries. We need those leaders to stand up, and they've done. Our leaders in these 2 games were there, and he's one of those guys for sure.
Last question, Dan on the right, standing up.
You have obviously an understanding perspective of what Eric means in Ottawa, what he means in the NHL. What did you learn about what he means here?
I don't think I've learned anything, to be honest with you. I certainly could expect. Yeah, I was expecting that. So I mean, he's the best defenseman in the world, and this is his country, and this is a proud country. This is a hockey country, and they've had a lot of great players over the years, but he's certainly right up there with those big names already at a young age, and he deserves to be there. And he's become a winner. He's become a leader, and they should be proud of him. And obviously, I think they're returning the favor. The claps that you hear and the enthusiasm that people have looking at him. He's definitely become a role model, I think, on ice and off ice, and he deserves it. So I think this was a great weekend. I really think this was so well organized by everybody, the NHL and the people here. I mean, we've been treated so well. It was so professional in the rink, outside, and how people approached us with a lot of respect, and it was very, very enjoyable. So I think it is total success for everybody from A to Z.